As far as the energy from this season transferring over to future seasons, I don't know. There's something about the way the stars align for this season, obviously on the backs of both Caitlin and Angel. I don't know if you can take that momentum that they both had coming from LSU and Iowa respectively, like the swell of conversation that they brought with them into the WNBA. I don't think you have that kind of buildup. Yes, sir. Welcome to another episode of The Fumble. My name is Rodney, Rikai. We have my amazing co-host Samaria Terry with us. What's happening, fam?
I'm doing good. Rodney, where are you?
Right now, I am in Nowheresville, California, for good cause. I'm doing this program. It's called Between the Lines, where we basically go in, we play basketball with inmates and from different penitentiaries around the state of California. We interview them. We have conversations, man. I was out on the yard, level 4 yard with lifers today, just talking about life. One of the guys that was on the yard today was actually in a group called Mindless Behavior. I don't know if you remember Mindless.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
Yes. So shout out to Santos. He has a 10-year bid. He has 6 years in, 4 years left. And it's just like one of the most incredible things I've ever been a part of. Danny Green, champion with the LA Lakers, as well as the San Antonio Spurs, was hooping with us today. So just a beautiful, beautiful experience. So my spirit is incredibly high. Incredibly.
Okay. How did you even get involved with it? I'm sorry, we're so off topic here, but that's really interesting.
No, it's a program that a really good friend of mine, Lamont Torrey, started. He's from New Jersey but lives out in LA, and he's been asking me to come out, and I've never been able to up until today. And so just a beautiful, beautiful experience, man. Like, I'm gonna cherish this forever, and I hope I can continue to go to each and every single Between the Lines outing that they have. It's fire.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah. But for sure. So and just so you know, your boy got buckets, but. Let's move on to our first topic of the day. Don't do that. I got buckets. Yeah, through prison fouls, because your boy is like that. Big dog. Let's go.
So the long-awaited moment was here Sunday as we witnessed LeBron James and Bronny James make history. The two became the first father-son duo to share the court in the same NBA game. Now, LeBron put up 19 points while Bronny finished with just 2 rebounds, missing the one shot that he took in that game. Now, ESPN is reporting that other NBA executives are saying that they knew Bronny was not ready to be in the league this year. Rodney, what did you make of this historic moment between Bronny and LeBron? And do you agree with some of these executives that are unnamed?
Oh, you funny. Historic moment. Because it's preseason, I don't really consider this the historic moment. Okay. This is an early taste of what a historic moment could potentially look like. And so I don't want to put too much emotional investment into something that was for sure cool to see. Even like the media and press day, I thought some of the clips that I saw from then were amazing. Savannah James was playing my creator or my player on NBA 2K with the man that she created in Bronny James. So it was like the ultimate kind of flex. I thought that was super fly. As far as Bronny not being ready to play, man, I'll be honest. He doesn't look like he'll be a big contributor this year, but I think that I've always felt like Bronny has a game that will be able to work in the NBA. I think it's going to take him a lot of time to develop a level of patience and understanding of how his skill set is going to fit onto an NBA team. Because he did not get to play an entire season in college, we can almost consider this like the second half of his freshman year. And so we have to give him a level of grace. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, just like I don't want to put too much pressure on any rookie, but for sure not him. He'll have a chance to develop and be nurtured in a system that wants to see him win. And I think that's the most important thing for a man who has yet to prove himself really outside of his high school career.
Yeah, I think what I love the most about the article that I was reading was that Rich Paul said that Rob Pelinka is telling him that Bronny's work ethic is unmatched, right? Like, he's the first one in the facility. He's the last one to leave. Like, those are things that you really can't teach. A guy has to want to be able to work that hard. And so I really love that. But I do agree, though, that he needed more time. And I feel like this is a hill that I'm going to die on. I said this from the beginning. I felt like he needed to stay in college one more year. I'm for real. And then Magic Johnson just said it on Jimmy Kimmel.
So
he's like, he's not ready.
Yeah, sure, he's not ready. But you know what is ready? The opportunity to play with your father. And that is something
I get that.
If you got to step on the gas a little sooner to get yourself in the league, then you got to step on the gas and get yourself to the league sooner. That's just what it is.
Well, I was going to say that one of the questions that was posed in that article was Bronny set up to fail? Do you think that?
No. I don't think
Okay.
there's another organization in the NBA that will handle Bronny with more care than the Los Angeles Lakers. Because the Lakers' future is tied to LeBron James and they want LeBron James to be happy, which is why historically there's been so many players from Clutch that have been Lakers. Like, they are going to do everything in their power to make sure that Bronny is set up for success. And let me also just say, JJ Redick, who so far is just night and day from Darvin Hamhead, he looks like an actual coach who is interested, invested, and has an understanding of what it takes for the Lakers to have success, but also each individual player on the team. He knows the mechanics and in and out of every single player on that team, Bronny included. And I think he's going to put Bronny in the best possible situation, both on the Lakers and also their G League affiliate team, to make sure that he's getting reps that count towards what he will be able to do in the NBA.
Yeah, so. I just hate that, like I said, I sat and read this entire article, and one of the things that another one of these unnamed, this was a Western Conference executive, said that if he had a different last name, we wouldn't be having this conversation because ultimately he wouldn't be in the NBA. And I feel like that has to be difficult. I know that he's probably blocking out all of the noise, but I know that he has to feel that people are doubting him. And so I think it's going to just be one of those things, whether he takes that in. You don't think that he feels that way?
I think he ignores a lot of things. I legitimately feel like Bronny just lives in his own world, his own bubble. He cares about video games and he's blocking it out. Living in LA and just seeing from a distance, like, you know, his parents, we have a lot of like mutual acquaintances. So sometimes I'm in spaces where they are, just looking at how the kid moves around. He's a different kind of young man, especially considering who his father is and what his last name is. He doesn't move the way in which you would expect a kid whose father is a billionaire to move. He almost works like the kind of kid who comes from nothing. Right. And his spirit is beautiful. I think he's going to have a phenomenal effect on the team. Even if it's not on the court, he'll be one of those guys that you want on the bench because of the way that he challenges everybody in practice day in and day out to work hard. He's just that kind of energy.
Yeah, you all let us know down in the comments, what do you think about LeBron and Bronny sharing the court together? Do you feel like this is the perfect time for Bronny to be in the NBA, or do you feel like he's being set up for failure?
So the most successful WNBA season ever is almost wrapped up, as there are now just 2 teams remaining. The Minnesota Lynx, led by Napheesa Collier, and the New York Liberty, led by Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, will square off in a best-of-5 series, with Game 1 kicking off in Brooklyn for the title of all titles in women's basketball. Now, while this has been the most invested fans have ever been in a WNBA season, the energy around the finals matchup has been a little low, if I can be honest. So, Samaria, do you think the momentum from this season will carry over into future seasons? And of course, who do you have winning the championship?
Yeah, Rodney, of course, because the Aces are not the top dog anymore. It's either going to be the Lynx or the Liberty. And I think it's always exciting when you have a new leader in a league. And also you have to remember the rookies, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. These are 2 women that are going to be able to start their sophomore seasons. And I think a lot of people are excited to see that, as well as some of the women that are in college right now that are going to be rookies next season. So for sure, I think that the excitement level is only going to get better because Caitlin's game is going to increase. Angel's game is going to get better. And so it's just, I love that for them. I'm going to go with the Liberty winning it all. I think that they're the most complete team right now. However, the Lynx, they've been playing them. They played them the toughest from any other team, right? So they played them 4 times. They won 3 of those matchups. Yeah. Can they get 3 more wins? I'm not sure. I'm going to go with New York on this one.
Yeah, I'm in alignment with you. I feel like the Liberty will for sure win the championship. Shout out to the Lynx, though. They had a phenomenal season. I just think that overall, the Liberty they shoot the ball too well from outside, and they just have too much versatility. So I'm rolling with them. As far as the energy from this season transferring over to future seasons, I don't know. There's something about the way the stars align for this season. Obviously on the backs of both Caitlin and Angel. I don't know if you can take that momentum that they both had coming from LSU and Iowa respectively, like the swell of conversation that they brought with them into the WNBA. I don't think you have that kind of buildup. You also have to remember the women's college basketball season ended about 2 months before the WNBA season started, right? So there was a smaller roadway from the end of the collegiate season into the WNBA season. Now you don't really have the kind of storyline heading out of the WNBA season that you will going into next WNBA season. And the only college player that will really be coming out of the draft next year that's going to move the needle is Paige Beckers. And that's not to say that there are not other great college basketball players, but again, this league has benefited from storylines. And I don't think Paige Beckers in her the fifth year of her collegiate career has developed a storyline that is as enticing as the one that Caitlin and Angel developed over time. So I don't know if the energy will transfer. I think some of it will dissipate. But of course, it can always have more of an uptick contingent upon how both Caitlin and Angel and Cameron Brink and Rikai and so many other players, how they come out the gate. If they're on a historic pace, then I think you'll see another investment emotionally from fans.
Well, I feel like Indiana, they proved a lot of people wrong this past season. I feel like they can go even further next year if they make a historic run. I think, that's going to be one of those things that people are going to be really excited to see.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be even bigger if Caitlin next year is playing in the finals.
Oh, look at you. We putting a fever in the finals? That would be wild.
No, I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, that would be
okay. Yeah, but that would mean that something went incredibly well during the season. And to start the season off, I don't know if the anticipation of seeing something you have never seen before will be as high. We had never seen Caitlin going against professional players, right? And so you wanted to see what that interaction was gonna look like coming into the season. And because she held her own, she kept people's attention. So we'll see what happens with people's eyeballs. But Caitlin is also not just worried about basketball. She's also set to tee off in an LPGA exhibition. Did you know this? So no, Caitlin is apparently a phenomenal golfer, and she will be taking part in the LPGA event. She's a golf ambassador, and so I'm looking forward to seeing if she really is like a Steph Curry, because they say that Steph has like a bionic arm, and he's just able to.
It's not they say, we've seen it.
Yeah, but from basketball to golf, ping pong, there are some athletes who just have a ridiculous amount of hand-eye coordination and just a touch that is sent from God. And so it'll be interesting to see how Caitlin performs, because apparently her golf game is A1. Yeah, listen, she's a woman of many talents. Don't just limit her to the hooper. You feel me? She's not out here just diamond. Yeah, she under par. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay, terminology.
You're like, what is that? Anyway,
hold on.
You golf, sister? Who golfs?
I don't golf. Golf, but my dad's a big golfer. I don't golf.
Okay,
but I know the terminology.
Respect. My fault. I didn't mean to undermine your ability to know all things sports related. My sincerest apologies, my sister. Mm-hmm. But y'all let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Do you feel like the energy is translating well from the beginning of the WNBA season heading into the finals? And who do you all have winning the championship? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.
All right, Alabama fans around the world just went through the biggest roller coaster of emotions, taking down #1 Georgia 2 weeks ago, being crowned the top team in the country, only to fall to Vanderbilt in the following week. So in this week's AP Coaches poll, Vandy only received 4 votes, obviously showing that they felt like the Tide beat themselves. They also had a few disciplinary issues during that game as well. Rodney, how does Alabama move forward from this, or did a loss of this magnitude expose some greater concerns within the Alabama program under new head coach Caleb DeBoer?
First of all, I want to shout out the AKAs from Vanderbilt. Phenomenal chapter over there at Vanderbilt. Yes, I don't think this loss derails Alabama's season whatsoever. We are now entering a 12-team. It was such an overcorrection. A 12-team college playoff system. So there's not 11 teams who are going to jump over Alabama between now and the end of the season. They'll have every opportunity, of course, playing in the SEC to more than make up for a loss against Vanderbilt. While I understand we'll have an emotional reaction to this loss, in the grand grand scheme of things, Alabama will be one of the final 12 teams that are vying for a chance to win a championship. And so I don't think this is any cause for concern. I think these kind of games happen. I think when you know that you have that much of a buffer, from going from 4 college playoff football teams to 12, you might have more of a letdown, right? You don't have to rest. You don't have to be so aggressive and so anxious about going out there and performing week in and week out the same way you have traditionally. So I feel like Alabama's fine. It is what it is. It's one of those games. Here you go.
I'm going to be hard on them.
Are you a Bama fan? Oh, okay, cool. Got it.
As an Auburn graduate, I've watched a lot of Alabama football, and I will say that was the most undisciplined team I have ever seen in my life. Malachi Moore, you're a captain. What are you doing? Rodney, come on. Okay, you throwing your mouthpiece, fine, right? But you kicking the football at the line of scrimmage, getting a penalty.
Okay. You talking about at the end of the game? You talking about when?
Yes.
Vandy was.
But then he was getting burnt the whole game, and then you're doing this, and they're trying to get him off of the field. He's not going. Caleb DeBoer's coming over there. Kane Womack, the DC, he's trying to get him off the field. He will not get off the field. So I think that those moments like that show okay, Caleb, are you trying to be their friend? Because I know for a fact he wouldn't have done that under Nick Saban. I know that. And you're a captain at that. So I think that was kind of when I asked you about maybe some of those concerns, within the program, I felt like that kind of worries me a little bit. Also, they had rat traps. So they're doing these little gimmicks. They had allegedly put rat traps around the facility because they felt like this was a trap game and they were trapped. Anyways, let's look at Alabama's schedule moving forward. They have South Carolina next week. Then in 2 weeks, they have number 8 Tennessee. Tennessee just lost to Arkansas, so they're going to be playing, and it's in Knoxville. That's a toss-up. Then you have a toss-up?
You a 50-50 chance of winning the game? That's what a toss-up is. You don't think Alabama's going into that game the favorite?
Tennessee actually is kind of good.
I'm not saying they're not.
Have you been watching them?
No, I actually have watched Tennessee games. You think that they are on Alabama's level?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
We'll revisit this in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Then they have number 21 Missouri. That's at home, so I feel like they should get a win there. Then they play LSU in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
That might be a tough one. Then they have Mercer. Then they have 18th ranked Oklahoma on the road. And then they have Auburn, right? So
who?
I didn't say that was a L.
Okay, I thought you were saying then they have Auburn that was some kind of hurdle or something.
No, I was just naming the rest of their schedule moving forward.
All right, I just want to make sure you were being humble. That's all. Continue.
Anyways, I don't know if Caleb DeBoer is the best fit. I know that was a lot of concerns. People were trying to figure out, coming from the Pac-12, does he really have what it takes to be a head coach, not only in the SEC, but at a storied program like Alabama? And I'm like,
y'all tough. Y'all tough in the South. I ain't gonna lie.
Saying, if Nick Saban lost to Vanderbilt, come on now. And listen, I was just in Nashville, so I know Vanderbilt, they've done a lot of things to change their program, but they just lost to Georgia State, right? And,
shout out to Diego Pavia. Shout out to Diego Pavia. Yeah,
shout out to Jerry Kill, Tim Beck, all those guys from New Mexico State. They have changed that program. However, you don't lose to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Nick Saban had some unsavory things to say about Vanderbilt before the game as well. I hear what you're saying. It's a trap game, and this is a team that is still acclimating to a new voice. I just don't think that it's that big of a deal on the grand scheme of things. Even as a 2-loss team, Alabama will more than likely be in the college football playoffs. I don't see them losing any more than 2 games. And so I'm not concerned because I feel like once they get into the playoff format, there is something about having Alabama across your chest that puts worry in teams when it's a win or go home situation. And not to say that they have to rest on their laurels and ride on history. I just think that they're in a comfortable position in the SEC, in the college football playoff picture, and they'll be just fine.
Rodney, I'm serious. Do you feel like under Nick Saban, for one, that boy would have acted like that?
Okay.
And 2,
well, we don't know. There is a new energy in college football where now that these players are being compensated the way in which they are, their attitudes are different. At the end of the game, Pavia, right? After he gets this win in real time, he's like, yeah, this is a big win, for NIL, it's money. Like, that's literally where his brain went in the post-game interview. So there is a new player that exists in collegiate sports who is far more concerned with his ability to generate money for himself while he's in college than somebody who's buying into a team system and is fearful of his coach. So and it's not even just good things that make your name popping for NILs. You can be somebody who's had demonstrative behavior and people want to know who you are because of your theatrics on the field, and that translates to money as well. So I can't say that he would or would not have done that under Saban. I just know that Saban probably would have had a different reaction, but he might be somebody who's vying for an opportunity to get more eyeballs on himself. That's all.
Well, Rodney just made a great point about NIL. Do you feel like that may be a reason why some of the guys aren't being as respectful? You all let us know down in the comments.
So certain teams throughout sports are just known for being clown shows. In the NBA, the Washington Wizards, my former employers, they fall in that category, as well as the Clippers. Now, they are both known for being incredibly unserious organizations. In the NFL, the Cleveland Browns organization is also historically known to be lovable losers, but not too far behind them are the Jets of New York, and this week's firing of Robert Saleh is another glaring example of their perpetual ineptitude. Now, the Jets are the Clippers of the NFL because they are the loser little brother of the New York Giants, who are forced to sleep on the top bunk at MetLife Stadium. For 25 years, they played their home games at Giants Stadium. The Jets, again, played their home games at Giants Stadium. In my lifetime, they haven't won a Super Bowl. Hell, they haven't been to a Super Bowl really since 1969, which is a freaky ass year, by the way. Now, I don't know the full story as to why they fired Robert Saleh, but I do know it wasn't just a football decision. The Jets defense is elite, and that is the side of the football that he hangs his hat on. So it feels like the truth lies somewhere between an egomaniac right-wing owner having a meltdown because he felt embarrassed in front of his tea and crumpet eating friends overseas, all right? Or like the organization is hyper loyal to Aaron Rodgers, someone whose jersey will never ever hang in their rafters. But perhaps the answer is a combination of both. Good leaders, ladies and gentlemen, do not make emotional moves in moments of turmoil. At 2-3, I didn't consider the Jets to be in turmoil by any account. They sit in second in the AFC East, and honestly, the last two games were extremely winnable if it weren't for Aaron Rodgers turning into Deshaun Watson in the fourth quarter. So the Jets get my fumble of the week for not just living up to, but exceeding the expectation of being a woefully embarrassing, directionless organization. Samaria, my question for you, are the Jets the worst run organization in the NFL?
Okay, you were just on me the last segment. You're a Giants fan, sir. So of course you extra hard on the Jets right now.
We won last Sunday. Thank you very much.
What I will say, though, is that Woody Johnson is a very interesting individual. He believes that he has the best roster in the NFL. He feels like they should be winning more. Like you just mentioned, 2-3, you're one game back from leading the AFC East. So you're not doing bad. It doesn't really make any sense. Of course, he was adamant that Aaron Rodgers had no input in this, but we know that Rodgers, he goes through head coaches, and it's really unfortunate. I mean, I'm not surprised by the news, but I do feel like Saleh maybe wasn't given more time, right? Because truly, you've only had 5 games with Aaron Rodgers because he didn't play any last season. So I'm like, It seems as though you have to be kind of basing it off of whatever rift they have. Jeff Ulbrich is going to be the interim head coach. It's going to be interesting to see how he runs the team moving forward. But
yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to be the coordinator and head coach. Like, I don't know, does he have somebody else call the plays now? That's a good point. Now, what I will say, and I alluded to it and made reference to it in my opening, but I don't know that everyone is familiar. And Eric Mangini, former coach for the New York Jets, said that, well, if you're not familiar, Woody Johnson used to be the ambassador to England under the Trump administration, right? And so Eric Mangini last week said, hey, listen, if the Jets don't perform well, Woody Johnson will consider that a fireable offense because he does not like to be embarrassed in front of his friends. And so the way in which, and it sounds crazy, I know, but when you're talking about these egomaniacal like people who are billionaires and the way that they play, like this is like playing dice for men of this much money, right? And so even in a dice game, you got to be careful because the wrong thing will turn into a bad moment. And I feel like the Jets played so terribly, especially through the first 3 quarters. They were absolutely disgusting to watch. I feel like he was embarrassed in front of his friends and peers and professional friends that he felt like he had said so many great things about this organization to, and he was put in a position to now question or have them question legitimacy of his words in speaking so glowingly about this organization. And the one person that got his head under the guillotine was Saleh. And I don't think it's right, but it can't be for anything on the field, because the only person on the field who has let the Jets down the last 2 weeks is Aaron Rodgers. He scored 9 points against the Denver Broncos. He had 3 turnovers this last game against the Vikings. And so that's not Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded coach, and the Jets defense is top tier. It's a top-tier defense. Right. So he has no reason to be let go. It's all offense-related. Hackett really should have been the one to be let go. But, of course, we know that Aaron Rodgers loves him. So, tough spot. Y'all let us know your thoughts down in the comment section. Do you feel like the firing of Robert Saleh will turn the Jets season around, or is the only way to save their season is by Aaron Rodgers playing adequate football for a 41-year-old man because he's old? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.
All right, that's all for this week. Thank you so much for joining us for another great episode of The Fumble. Make sure to subscribe to The Fumble and at The Fumble Sports on all of our social media platforms. Of course, we deliver the latest in sports every day on our YouTube page with our girl, Jackie Ray. And every Friday here at The Fumble with myself, Samaria Terry, and my co-host, Rodney Rikai, who just lost to some prisoners in California.
No. I did not lose. That we got that on video. Don't be spreading rumors about my game. I won against the prisoners with the NBA champion and Danny Green. And so that officially makes me a semi-champion. I think that's how it works. That's how the math works in my head. We out of here, man. Peace.